course, the other major commodities with prices on the rise are in agriculture. With Russia banning wheat exports and Pakistan floods impacting rice, the FAO's Global Food Price Index surged in August to the highest level since September 2008. Food and water security is firmly on the agenda, and one global player making the most of opportunities around the world is Singaporean-based Olam International, now a $2.6 billion enterprise. I spoke to the managing director of Olam International, Sunny Verghese, in Sydney a short time ago. Sunny Verghese, welcome to Lateline Business.
Thank you for having me.
Well, food is obviously the business to be in. You've got plans to double Olam over the next 3 years. How are you going to do it?
We are in 20 agricultural commodities. The first strategy is to grow volumes in our existing businesses. And this we do by extending the procurement reach and width in the various producing countries from where we are sourcing, getting to the next level of customers in existing markets, and also entering new markets where we find new customers.
You're a sizable commodities trader, but the big buys over the last 12 months or so, I think about $700 million worth, have been in production and farming. What's the strategy behind this?
Structurally, we believe that over a secular time period, agricultural commodity supply-demand will be imbalanced, and we believe that a disproportionate share of the profits will be appropriated by the people who own the production or the farming assets. So selectively, we are integrating upstream in plantations in countries that have a comparative advantage to produce these commodities cheaper and better over the long term. So, for example, we invested in almonds in Australia because we believe that Australia is a cost-competitive producer of almonds. We've invested in rubber in Africa in 3 countries. We've invested in dairy farming in Uruguay, in peanut farming and soybean farming in Argentina, and, for example, rice farming in Mozambique. These are countries which we believe can produce these commodities cheaper and better over the long term.
Now, we hear a lot about the growing concerns over food and indeed water security. More and more about big global companies buying up land, as you say, in South America, in Africa, even in Australia. What are the regulations around that? And if there aren't any, do you fear that there might be some coming down the track soon?
I think the issue is really what kind of commodities you're talking about. So if you're looking at tree crop plantations, which are long gestation projects, which requires massive upfront investment, I think most governments are happy to invite and attract foreign direct investment. So for us, our estimate, and I think this is the same as FAO, we need to invest about $90 billion per year over the next 20 years to really ramp up food production to meet the growing demands for food globally. And this will be only 5% of this money is going to come from official development assistance. More than 95% of this money has to come from private people. And therefore, I think most countries where there is a focus on agriculture and improving agriculture, the governments are happy to invite private investments to build that infrastructure and invest.
You mentioned in Australia that you now bought into the almond industry. I think you control about 45% of the industry here. Isn't that also, though, about buying up water rights?
No, for any agricultural commodity that you grow, you need to have access to water. And if you're going to make, we have made a $330 million US investment in the almond business in Australia. And the only way you will do that is if you can secure and hedge at least part of your water requirements.
And Sunny Verghese, are you concerned at all about the noise in the media in Australia, at least, about foreign investment taking up land and water?
I think we are very sensitive to that in every country that we operate, and we operate in 64 countries. We believe that it is relatively easy to get licenses and permissions from governments because they are seeking foreign direct investment in sectors that are underinvested in, typically in those countries. But for us, the more important license that we need to seek and get is the license from the communities in where we operate.
Now, Olam's share price is very strong at the moment. It must be keeping your shareholders, including Temasek, very happy. But that's off the back of talks with the commodity giant Louis Dreyfus. What more can you tell us there?
Unfortunately, I can't tell you much more than what we've announced. We have announced that we've had conducted preliminary discussions, and I think the operative word here is preliminary. And we've also said that the idea of the talks is to see what potential collaboration we can have with Dreyfus, which also, like us, is a focused player in the agri-complex only. That collaboration can take any form, joint venture, or could result in a merger. But it is early days yet. There's no certainty of a transaction happening. As a listed company in Singapore, because these confidential discussions were leaked in Europe, and there was specific public circulation of that rumor, we had to come out and either confirm or deny that rumor.
We all know that Louis Dreyfus is a very private company, but there has also been talk about an IPO, at least of its commodity unit. Would one scenario be a merger with Olam of that unit and then perhaps a float?
I'm sure this question can be better addressed by Louis Dreyfus, but obviously these are the options that they would be considering in terms of the range of alternatives that they would look at in continuing to grow and scale their business profitably. It is, as you said, large and very successful, and a company with a long business tradition behind it. And I'm sure they will be considering all these options, and it's a question that they could address much better than I could.
Sunny Borghese, very interesting space to be in. I thank you for talking to Lateline Business.
Thank you for having me again.